Hey, you guys, this is Chelsea with Park City Television. I'm here at the Temple Theater for the world premiere of Uncle Howard. This film celebrates the short but storied life of New York filmmaker Howard Brookner. All right, Aaron, tell me where your concept for this film first came from.
The concept really came from, at first, wanting to bring back my uncle's movies so he wouldn't die a second death of having his work forgotten. And then that process of recovering his work and looking for it gave way to this whole story of everything he left behind, both physically as far as film and video, but also the relationships he had with so many different people. And it became such an interesting journey, so that the film became a way to take the audience on this journey of this discovery of who my uncle was as a person and as a filmmaker, and of the times that he lived in the late 70s to the 80s in New York.
So at the age of 7, you knew him. Tell me what memories from that period of your life still remain with you, and why are they so vivid?
Well, the interesting thing about the vivid memories I found out is that he actually gave me a video camera, and I found footage where I was 5 or 6 years old and filming him. And so the act of videotaping anyone or taking a picture always concentrates your memory like none other. So the camera was integral to my memory of him. But also, you know, when he was making Bloodhounds of Broadway, his last film, he brought me to the set, sat me on his lap. I sat with him while he was directing a scene with Madonna and Randy Quaid. And, you know, these are, huge things to see as a child. So
When you were that little, did you realize how kind of monumental those moments were?
Yeah, I knew who Madonna was. I mean, the film thing seemed a lot of fun. That's great, but that's also Madonna right there. Yeah.
That's
She's listening to my uncle and doing whatever he says. This is kind of interesting.
Oh, that's so cool. And you're able to kind of capture that and put it in this film and share it with people. What is it like for you to share your uncle's story with an audience? And throughout the process, there are things that were surprises to you. What is it like for you to understand that people are also going to be surprised by these things?
Well, it's very exciting and very gratifying to know that, he reaches so many people, and that it can go beyond me and beyond my own memory and beyond the people who knew him and live on, and that his story will be known, him as a filmmaker will be known, his films will be known. That's incredibly rewarding,
At the age of 34, of course, he unfortunately passed away from AIDS. What message do you hope to leave viewers with in terms of his life? I mean, just 3 decades, but such a storied career.
Well, in Howard's own words at the end of his life, he did say, "I've lived a short life, but I've done more with my life than most people who live to be 80-something get to do." And I think the real message from Howard that I've taken, I think that other people, is, your time is finite. Time is a resource. That's a William Burroughs quote. And use your life to the fullest extent possible. Live your life, do what you want with it. And he did that. And to be able to be 34 and say, "I've done with my life everything I've wanted to do," is an incredibly powerful message and something to emulate, I think.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Aaron. And now, Paula, tell me a little bit about your role, of course, with the film, how you got involved with the project.
I produced Aaron's first film as well. I'm also Aaron's wife, so it's like a family project all along. So I was his first film producer, and then this was his second film. So it was just a natural thing for me to keep evolving because we work together. So we basically started with us searching for the Burroughs film and how to do it and how to bring it back. And it all was triggered from a letter that we found in Aaron's grandma's house. What Howard had wrote that letter saying, "You're going to read this when I'm gone, and I've just found out I've got AIDS, and but don't be sad for me. I'm going to be remembered for my work, for my films." And we looked at each other like really emotional, but we said, "Wait a minute, his films are nowhere to be seen." And that's kind of what triggered looking for the films. And then we realized that there was a story to be told. And from a producer perspective, when you have a highly driven director, in this case a very intimate story that is in our family as well, because we are also family, it was just not possible not to do it. I also work with other directors, but this became our, family and personal and team obsession, and we just produced this for 4.5 years, pretty much together as well.
And with this being a family passion project, quite literally, what was one of the greatest challenges you dealt with in putting these very close family moments on screen and sharing this, knowing that it would be shared with the wider audience?
I think when you do a documentary this long and that deals with so many delicate things, family, sadness, loss, works of art, rights, everything is a challenge. Like, we had challenges all along. I think everything. And until the last minute, you don't find the footage. You don't know who owns what. You interview people and they just tell you stories you didn't know, so you have to go back, and the films don't finish when you think they will finish. I think documentary films generally have their own life, and they tell you when it's time to keep going, and if you listen. And this project kept going even beyond what we wanted or needed, but clearly the project needed it. So it was a very challenging film, I think. But when I look at the result on screen, I think I'm very proud of the film, but I think we couldn't have done any more. We've done absolutely everything that we could to make this film, like to our fullest extent. There was not one email unwritten, one phone call not made, not one funder not touched, I mean, it was just, we did everything, absolutely everything to make it.
And last of all, well, congratulations on having the film here at Sundance. What is that like for you guys to have that here and screened on a huge screen in a theater at one of the most famous film festivals in the world?
Well, first of all, I think it's really interesting to have it in a temple because Howard became religious through his films one time. Like, he wasn't a religious person, and because of his films, he thought, religiously something happened, and then he took on. I think Sundance is an independent filmmaker's dream, and for the idea that it will give you a sustainable, more expanded life as a filmmaker, I think first and foremost, and of course because enthusiasm and cinema also thrives in a festival like this, and it has a lot of attention. When you make a film, I guess you really want the world to see it, and a platform like Sundance probably gives you more hopes that will happen.